Hello, Bronco fans and football fans everywhere. Welcome to Broncos Breakdown. This is Monday, July 19th, 2021. I am your host, Bronco Bill. Let's get right into the topics that I have today. I have a new segment that I'm going to be bringing in. I believe last video I called it the police blotter. Well, I've come up with a different a name for it. I'm calling it the Jackass of the Week, and you'll understand why. Sometimes I just don't understand athletes with a lot of money, and they feel that they are just they're just above the law, and that's not the case. Well, we'll get right into that here in a little bit. I've got some, like I said, my new segment, Jackass of the Week. I also have some Bronco news, some Colorado Avalanche news, and some there's a baseball news, and then there's a couple of deaths that I have to bring as well. So let's since I did mention the Jackass of the Week, let's get right to it. All right. How about Frank Clark? Now, if you remember on previous video, back on June 20th, Clark was arrested for possession of an Uzi assault weapon. Last Friday, he was charged on felony possession of an assault weapon, that Uzi, of course, and faces 3 years in prison. However, he has a guaranteed contract with the Chiefs that if he cannot play this season, they will pay him his salary of $18.5 million. What? Who says crime doesn't pay? Holy cow. I know for a fact if I committed a crime like that, I wouldn't be getting my salary from where I work. Whew, must be nice having a guaranteed contract in the NFL. That is unbelievable. That he would still get his $18.5 million salary behind bars. Well, this is America, and the NFL does have a very, very strong union, but I was just, shocked. The reason why he's under the Jackass of the Week is because he's going to jail, guys, for a minimum, or up to, I should say, 3 years for possessing an Uzi, which is an assault weapon. So even though he's the Jackass of the Week, or one of them, because I have another one, he still comes out winning, so to speak. What a great country we live in, huh? Let me go to the second of 3 Jackass of the Week. Okay, here's the second one. Second one is Richard Sherman. Now, Richard Sherman was arrested last week for possible hit and run and DUI. He crashed his car as he hit a barrier in a construction zone and still drove the car despite popped tires. He then abandoned his car and was taken down by a canine and arrested. What? Why are you running? First off, why are you driving your car intoxicated? You have millions of dollars. Call a cab, call somebody. But the problem that it is with these guys is the simple fact that they feel invulnerable. They feel above the law. They feel that, hey, and yes, I know we've all been down that road. Those of us who indulge in adult beverages, we've all said, hey, we're fine, we can drive, blah, blah, blah. I get it. But that doesn't make it right. And especially for people that have millions of dollars, call a limo. Call your buddies. Call an Uber. Call whomever. But being stupid and driving your car and then having a hit and run and then continuing on when you have, blown out tires, and then you have to have a canine take you down because you're running away. Richard Sherman, I don't understand. And then on top of that, he goes and he tries to burglarize his girlfriend's parents' house. He tries to break in. He's banging on the door and he's screaming, "Come out, come out, come out." And of course they didn't come out. The guy's nuts. The guy's crazy. Then there's a report that he was trying to commit suicide prior to his arrest. I understand that there's a brain disorder. I get that, and I'll talk about that a little bit here in one of my other segments. But the bottom line is, you can't go off the deep end and just start banging on someone's door and burglarizing or trying to burglarize or drive under the influence and crash your car and then try to continue driving. If there's issues between the ears because of football, contact and hits to the head, you got to seek help. You've got to seek someone to help you out. This is becoming very, very serious in regards to head injuries in the NFL. Sherman isn't the only one that have issues. I have another one to bring you in this video. There was Junior Seau. He had issues. He committed suicide. There's different degrees of this injury, but you can't go and do something. You can't be a jackass. All right, and that's exactly what this is. Now let's go to the third jackass of the week. This is Barkenvios. I believe I'm saying that right. Barkenvios Mingo. Now, Mingo is an outside linebacker for the Atlanta Falcons and a 9-year pro. He was arrested last Thursday and charged with indecency with a child, sexual contact, and such. He was released on $25,000 bond. This offense happened on the 4th of July, 2019. Now, yes, it's just coming to the surface and being reported and arrested. He was arrested on these charges. But again, he's a 9-year pro. He's making millions of dollars. And you have to go and have contact with a child? Really? You have no other game, no other physical, attractive, whatever type of game. He didn't have that type of game, any kind of game. He couldn't walk into, I don't know. I'm not going to get into much graphics on this. Like I said, I've got kids that watch this video. So, but the point I'm trying to make is he has all this money and he can't find gratification, let's put it that way, elsewhere, but he has to with a child. I hope the NFL really comes down hard on these guys. I really do. It's pathetic. It's pathetic what these guys are doing. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to think that these guys feel that they are that much above the law that they can get away with whatever they want to get away with. Well, not only do I hope the NFL cracks down on them and suspends them or fines them, kicks them out of the league, whatever, but I hope the NFL, not the NFL, excuse me, I hope the police department, I hope the attorneys, I hope the court system puts them away for a very, very long time. Maybe that will slow some of these other guys down who may be thinking about doing similar things. I hope they come down hard, because this stuff needs to stop, especially with a child. That's just totally wrong. Now, let's go to a couple of deaths, unfortunately. Greg Clark, no relation to Frank Clark as far as I know, but Greg Clark, a former 49ers tight end, has passed away at the age of 49. The details of his death weren't released. However, it is believed that he passed away from the repetitive traumatic brain injury syndrome. Now, that's what I was saying earlier about the Richard Simmons situation. Yes, maybe there is brain trauma. Maybe there is repetitive traumatic brain injuries in the NFL. I mean, after all, yeah, sure, they have a helmet, but I mean, when you're getting hit that hard over and over and over for many, many years in the NFL, you're going to have the possibility of brain injury and brain trauma. Yes, unfortunately, Greg Clark passed away at the age of 49, as well as other people like Junior Seau. And now Richard Sherman was thinking about killing himself before he went on that crime spree. So, yes, these guys need help, and the NFL does need to do more in regards to looking into this situation. Do I want to see the NFL turn into a flag football league? No, not at all. These guys know what they're getting into when they go into the sport. And the reason why they go into it is for the success, the immediate gratification of being a millionaire, or on center stage every Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. But I also understand that there's a serious, serious situation when it comes to these brain injuries. All right, let's go to Kendall Hinton. Now, if you remember last year in 2020, when the Denver Bronco quarterbacks were all ruled out of action versus the New Orleans Saints due to the COVID violations, Kendall Hinton was thrust into the starting quarterback spot. The NFL has chosen some interesting artifacts from that season to be in the Hall of Fame. Hinton's wristbands are there among them. Now, that's interesting because it's just his wristbands. But when you have a quarterback thrust, or I should say, when you have a wide receiver who hadn't played quarterback since his freshman year in college, being thrust into an NFL game in prime time. It was an afternoon game in Denver. And that being the case, well, it's a good thing that there is something from that ridiculous suspension, so to speak, that the NFL handed down to Denver, where none of their quarterbacks could participate in that game. It is interesting, though, that Hinton's wristbands are in the Hall of Fame. So that's good. Yeah, good for him. I mean, he took on the role. He didn't say no. He didn't back down. He did his best. He threw more interceptions than he did completions. But what do you expect from a guy who, the day before the game, was told that he's going to be a starting quarterback? What are you going to do? You're going to try and do your best, and that's what he did. So hats off to Kendall Hinton. Great job to step in when you were least expecting it, and I'm glad to see that your wristbands are in the Hall of Fame. 2020 was a weird year in so many ways, and that just proves another weird twist to it. All right, let's go to another death, unfortunately. This one is Alex Gibbs. The longtime assistant Broncos coach, Alex Gibbs, passed away at the age of 80 due to complications from a stroke he suffered. Gibbs was influential in the Broncos Super Bowl championships of the 1990s. Now, Alex Gibbs was an offensive line coach as well for Denver, and he's the one that actually came up with that crackback block that the NFL has now ruled illegal. But during the 1990s and the Broncos run back-to-back Super Bowls, he was instrumental in instigating that. It was definitely a blocking scheme that other defenses really never was able to shut down or to defend against. And it was his idea and his game plan that the Broncos really thrived and were very successful with that blocking scheme. Now, if you remember, watching any of those seasons that Gibbs was the offensive line coach, if you go back and look at those games, when the line blocked to the right, Terrell Davis would take the handoff from Elway and run to the right. Then, as the blocking continued to the right, a lot of times Terrell Davis would cut back against that blocking scheme, and he'd have a wide open field to his left. And he scored many touchdowns that way. He also gained extreme yardage, a lot of yardage going back that way. But that was all designed by Alex Gibbs. So my condolences go out to the Alex Gibbs family, the Bronco organization, and to the entire NFL that definitely benefited from Alex Gibbs and his teaching. Alex, thank you so much for all you did for the Denver Broncos. You'll be missed. All right, let's go to Gabriel Landiskog. Now this one really bothers me. This one really bothers me a lot because Gabriel Landiskog was not protected on the Avalanche list of players the Seattle expansion hockey team can choose from. Now, I also understand too that a player has to be under contract for an expansion team to be able to take that player. And I presume the reason why is because if a player's not under contract, and Landiskog isn't, his contract ran out at the end of the 2021 season. The reason why I presume that a player has to have a contract is because if there's no contract, then that team does not know what they have to pay that player. For instance, let's say Landiskog's salary is $10 million a season. Let's just say that. I don't know. But let's just say it's $10 million a season. If Seattle only has a ceiling cap of, let's say, $100 million, and Landiskog is $10 million, well then they can do the math on it and figure out exactly who to pick up and who to draft on their team as an expansion team. If you don't know what their contract is, and let's say obviously they don't know Landiskog's contract because it expired at the end of the year, then they don't know. So let's say they have a $100 million ceiling and they choose all these other players and now they're committed to $92 million. But Landiskog comes in and let's say they were to take him and he comes in at $12 million or even $10 million. If they only have $8 million left, they can't sign him. So I believe that's the reason why. Now, if that's the case, and Landiskog was not protected because Joe Sakic knows that Seattle can't take him because he doesn't have a contract, then that was a brilliant move by Sakic to put him on the list knowing full well that Seattle can't take him. But there's a flip side. And that flip side is this. What if Landiskog was so pissed at Joe Sakic for not giving him a contract and not even protecting him, that when the time comes for him to, quote, re-sign with Colorado, he basically says, no thanks. I'm going somewhere else. I'm going to Vegas, or I'm going to New York, or I'm going to St. Louis. Heaven forbid he goes to Vegas or St. Louis. But what if he's that angry, that pissed off, because Joe Sakic basically used him as a pawn? Yeah, I'd be upset too. I'd be totally upset. I'm just hoping that Landiskog had some kind of a tip-off from Joe Sakic as to what he was doing, and hopefully they can come to some agreement. I'm not happy about Landiskog not being protected. He's on the number one line with McKinnon. So I don't like it, but I hope that Sakic knows what he's doing, and I hope that Landiskog comes back to Colorado. All right, let's go to the Denver Broncos. Now, the lawsuit to determine the Broncos' ownership has been dismissed by the courts. What does this mean for the future? What does it mean for the future in twofold? It will either go to Beth or Brittany, or the team will be sold. Now, the lawsuit was to abolish the trust and to basically hand the team over to Beth or Brittany. Well, the other 5 siblings don't want Brittany to have it. They want it sold because they want the money. Now, if that's the case, if the Broncos are sold, then it's more than likely going to go to an ownership group. And that may not be a bad thing. And I'll tell you why. And the reason why it may not be a bad thing is because Peyton Manning has said that he would be interested in being a partnership for and part ownership of a team. Well, of course, he's not going to be part ownership of the Colts because Irsay's totally in charge. But he could be part ownership of a group that buys the Denver Broncos. Now, Peyton Manning did say, when asked, he said, and I quote, he said, I am not committing to anything at this point. I haven't said no to anything officially forever. I've just said no to some things each year, end quote. Now, does that leave the door open for him to possibly be part ownership, maybe even controlling ownership or the face of the franchise? Should the Broncos be sold? I certainly hope so. I mean, what better ambassador for the Broncos than somebody like Peyton Manning? I mean, I think that would be absolutely amazing. However, my heart still wants it to remain in the Bolin family. I would love to see Brittany get it. I would love to see Brittany be the sole owner of the Broncos. Now, I would also like to see Brittany maybe bringing on a Peyton Manning as an ambassador or, like I said, the face of the franchise. I think that would be awesome. But as of right now, the trust is still in control, and there is no sale as of yet. So I'll keep you posted, guys. As much as I know, as much as I find out, I'll definitely bring it to these videos. All right, let me go to Ryan Graves. Now, Ryan Graves of the Colorado Avalanche has been traded to the New Jersey Devils. Now, the Avalanche received Mikhail Maltsev, who was a 2021 second-round pick of the New Jersey Devils. He comes to Colorado. Now, I like Ryan Graves. I like all the Colorado Avalanche players. But Ryan Graves was on the fourth line, and even though he's instrumental, he didn't really put up great numbers for the Avalanche. So I understand the trade. I get it. Graves, salary was going to be an issue, and so now they bring in this second-round pick, and of course they can get him for next to nothing. And let's see if he develops. I'm not sure if he's going to be on the Avalanche line right away. He may go down to the Colorado Eagles. But in any case, the Avalanche get a younger player, and hopefully they can develop him into a good, solid defenseman for the Avalanche, whether it be the second line, third line, fourth line, whatever. I hope he develops and turns into a great hockey player. All right, let's go to the NFL. And the NFL has said they will include the Black National Anthem and social injustice messages again for the 2021 season. Now, guys, I'm not going to get into my political beliefs or what I really feel about this other than what I'm going to say right now. The national anthem is the United States national anthem. It is sung at every sporting event because that's what this country was founded on. This country was founded on, I know we had slaves and we had issues. That's in the past. I get it. But I don't condone politics entering sports. Sports is a diversion from reality. Sports is a diversion from everyday situations that you and I and we all face. It's a diversion of 3 hours, sometimes 4 for overtime or extra innings in baseball or whatever. But it's a 3-hour diversion. That's why people go to movies. That's why people attend sporting events. That's why people watch sporting events, to divert from everyday pressures and stresses in a way to just sit back and take a deep breath and cheer on your favorite team. I don't condone another national anthem being played, or political messages on the end zone, or guys' helmets, or back of jerseys, or socks, or cleats, or whatever. I don't condone it at all. I'm irritated at the NFL for even going this route. You want to play the Black National Anthem? Fine. Do it off screen. Don't show it on TV. Doesn't need to. We don't need politics in sports. And that's all I have to say on that. All right, let's go to Washington Nationals. Now, last Saturday, during the Padres National game, there was a shooting outside the ballpark where 6 people were shot, and the game was suspended at the bottom of the 6th inning. Now, people were panicking. The sounds on some of the videos I watched were very, very distinct gunshots. It was almost like a semi-automatic or an automatic weapon. So what happened was, that was outside the ballpark, but people were panicking and scurrying and taking shelter. Now, some of the Padre players, Fernando Tatis Jr. and some others were, they opened up the gates to the field level area, and they escorted fans down into the dugout and then into the clubhouse to escape the gunfire. They didn't know if it was in the stadium. They didn't know if it was outside. They didn't know where it was. But they took the initiative and put themselves possibly in harm's way. Like I said, they didn't know where the shots were coming from. And they escorted fans and family members and such into the clubhouse for safety. Now, baseball, all sports takes a back seat when something like this happens. So I just want to say what a great effort it was by Fernando Tatis Jr. as well as others. That Manny Machado was another one of them, to escort the fans into as many as they could get into the clubhouse. That's very, very commendable, and I have a lot more respect for those players of the San Diego Padres. Hats off, guys. You did a remarkable job under the situation. Congrats. I'm going to end this video with a Peyton and Eli Manning topic. Now, both Peyton and Eli will co-host a Monday night NFL game on ESPN2 for 10 games each of the next 3 NFL seasons. Peyton and Eli will bring a different approach, much like fans do when watching with their families and friends. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I watch with my friends and family, I comment a lot. I'm like a Monday morning quarterback, armchair quarterback. Yeah, I see things. I go, what are you doing this for? Why is that? And things like that. I think Peyton's insight, his humor, along with Eli, and the way they play off of each other, I think that's going to be very, very enlightening and interesting. And I do believe they're going to bring some information, perspective that other analysts may not have. Obviously, they can do it as a quarterback, from a quarterback standpoint. They can obviously bring what they see on the field and what they've experienced on the field, and just their humor and insight. So I'm really, really looking forward to watching those games, listening to Peyton especially, and playing off of Eli and his comments as well. So I look forward to that, guys. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be interesting. And, congratulations to Peyton and to Eli for both being asked to do this on ESPN2. That's it, guys. That's it. That's all I got. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. And we'll talk to you on the next video, hopefully this Friday. Talk to you then.